Hello, U.S. History 101 class. Welcome to week 15. This is the last week before finals. I want to apologize for the late announcement. I'm actually up in Portland, Oregon right now, and I actually have some other work up here, my daughter, family, and friends, and I thought I could do a whole bunch at once. Well, I get here my first day, and my laptop was destroyed. I mean, it tanked. It was done. It was a long run. And so I had to quickly get a new laptop. I was having a difficulty retrieving my password to get into Canvas. It was a mess. So fortunately, I'm back on top of things and I'm getting most of the grading done. I just want to point that out. In terms of grades now, this is the few things I want to remind all of you. If you have a problem with your grade, if you have a problem the way that I graded something, if you see that I didn't grade something and it should have been graded, any kind of issues that you have with your grade, this would be the time to contact me and let me know. And I mean ASAP. Because really we need to resolve any kind of questions like that by this weekend. Next week, I believe it's going to be Wednesday, you will have your final paper. It's going to be very similar to the exams, the first exam you had. Success in this class will not be based on whether or not you do well on this final exam. It's 25 points. It's all the points that you needed to have. It's been keeping up with the class weekly. Having said that, again, I want to remind you, just contact me. I am busy, but I will get back to you as soon as possible. Also, I want to remind you that if you see any assignments that are not in the grade book that you didn't do, I have a problem with Canvas. I mentioned this in one of my earlier announcements that keeps some of my old assignments. And I don't know how to delete them without deleting the ones that I want to keep. So I've had a difficulty with that. Only worry about assignments that we had to do in the module. But if you need to double check on anything, ask me about an assignment, make sure, again, contact me as soon as possible. Very important. I've said this so many times, but for real, if you give me any late work right now, and we have not had a discussion, and you just give it to me, I'm automatically not going to grade it, and I'm not going to have a discussion about it. You cannot just dump work on me now and assume that I'm going to do anything with it, especially when I've made very clear this whole semester that late work that is given to me without discussion doesn't get graded, okay? So if you see that you have late work and that you really want to try to get it in and you're worried about your grade, okay, you have to communicate with me. And I want to remind you, I'm talking very stern right now, in my professor voice. Everybody who's contacted me knows that I'm not going to talk down to you. I want all of you to succeed, but I just need you all to communicate with me. Sometimes I get things wrong. I've messed up on some of my grading. So you just need to contact me, and then we will resolve anything like that. But without contacting me, if you have a grade you're not comfortable with or assignments you want to get done, it's not going to help you. So you can write to me directly on Canvas, which is what I prefer, or texting, okay? And then I'll get back to you as soon as possible. That's mainly all I want to say in terms of the grading. The last thing I just want to say, we end the semester on a very grim note. It's U.S. History 101, and we end at Reconstruction period. We're coming out of a civil war, out of the topic of slavery, and then basically reintegrating Southern Confederate leaders back into our political system and selling out any kind of real meaningful change to the Black American community that just got out of slavery. Reconstruction is what one of my mentors called the counter-revolution. In other words, it's a betrayal of really making real change for Black America. I mean, it ends slavery, but then we have the problem of segregation and all these other things that we're seeing here. Now, I have us end with watching, and I subject you to this film, Birth of a Nation, the original. The reason why I do that is it was a blockbuster hit, and you will hear about it if you continue your education for the rest of your life. Most of you will not have an opportunity to be exposed to the actual film. But what I wanted, so why am I having you do this? Because I want you to actually see that unfortunately that this is a testimony to the failure of Reconstruction. The fact that relatively shortly at the end of the Civil War, that the Ku Klux Klan could be rehabilitated back into popular imagery as actually heroes is just mind-boggling. But this is what happens. I have you look at a link with the Daughters of the Confederacy, how they also worked very hard and have worked hard to basically rehabilitate or to change the narrative of the Civil War and to make the Confederacy into something more honorable. This is not me having a campaign against the South, but I am trying to show the problem of the Confederacy and any kind of celebration of it and whitewashing of the history, right? So it also helps us explain how it could be. I was born in 1973. We're talking about segregations going on until 68. In other words, when I was born, we're talking about only a few years after the end of segregation in this country. I have a link of a woman who died relatively recently that shared a bed with a man who fought in the Civil War. So what I'm trying to draw out here at the end of our semester is that the problems that we have over race and our history in America and of statues and so much of what we see in the so-called culture wars really has a lot to do with the fact that a lot of this is still recent history, that we as a country haven't been able to quite find the proper space out of this history into where we're at now. I'm not going to try to attempt to resolve that for us right now, but as the historian, I want to clean up the history. I want to make sure that we are coming into this discussion knowing our history. The things have been complicated. The Civil War was about slavery for the South. For the North, it was originally about preserving the Union. Eventually, the Union made it about ending slavery as it got dragged on, so the Union wasn't going out of its way militarily to end slavery initially, but the South was leaving because they assumed that Lincoln being elected would end slavery. So, was it about slavery? Yes. But was it a battle of pure evil and pure good in terms of the moral parameter of things? That's a different story. Was it a battle over racism? No. Okay, so both sides had views that were very similar to each other on that front, but the issue of slavery as an institution was called into question. Now, these grim topics, which spill over into so much discussions going on today, like I said, there's so much I have to say, and there's so much to unpack, and so much to go into about what's going on now. What I'm just hoping is that we continue to work hard at being quality historians, doing your research, putting your thought into it, and then taking your ethics and your morals and asking yourself how your ethics and morals fit into that history. And what are we doing now? And what is the proper way to be? Well, see, these are all questions, again, that we're not going to resolve here in this class, but that I wanted to help maybe polish up for you and make more productive. So that's all I have to say about this for here. I want you to contact me if you have any issues about the content, or you want to have a further discussion, a question. If you engage with me and ask a question about any of this history, it's a safe space in the sense that you're asking me. I'm not going to be upset about whatever you have to say. Or I want to. It's my job as a historian, as your professor, to help you feel comfortable and actually solidify and clarify things you need to know about this history. And having said that, I will give one last announcement for the final coming up. But if there's any issues with it, if anything right now, again, contact me. That's the main thing I want to say. Have a great week. I hope things are well. It's very cold out here. I'm going to go get inside now and get a hot cup of coffee. Be well, everyone. We'll be in touch.